Okay, guys, good morning, good evening, at whatever time you were watching this, and welcome to the Racing Breaks 2025 Breeders' Cup preview. Ruby, it looks like you're in windy and rainy Ireland. Is that correct? You're not joining us out this year?
Windy and cold Ireland, Bash.
Windy and cold.
For a
Okay.
change, it's not raining. Unfortunately, I think most of the rain seems to be in the Caribbean, so hopefully everyone there is okay. But the rain is not here at the moment, but it looks bright and beautiful in Delmar, Bash.
It is indeed. Well, it's about 7 a.m. The sun is just rising. We landed yesterday. Lots of guests and customers out here. We're all very excited. The weather looks fantastic. So the only thing we need, Ruby, is some winners. Are you able to assist us in trying to find some?
I can definitely help Bash, but I don't know. Is it the time of year? Um, Definitely tracks, draw, breaks, and how the European horses break can often um make Breeders' Cup difficult. I think it's a great
Of
spectacle. I
course.
love watching it, but I've often found it a hard place to get winners.
Yeah, for sure. And it's quite a tight track, isn't it? And, unless you're in a good position, it's very hard to make up ground from a poor position. But anyway, let's try our best. That's all we can do, Ruby. And we're going to look through the main Breeders' Cup races. It is currently 2 p.m. UK time on Wednesday. So we'll kick things off in the 9:45 p.m. UK time, which is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, where we have True Love as favourite representing the Aidan O'Brien team. Would you be for or against True Love here, Ruby?
Obviously she's coming down a little bit in trip, but she was good over five at Ascot in June when she won the Queen Mary. She beat Flowerhead in that occasion, who hard to argue Flowerhead is really frank that form. But anyway, I would be probably with True Love. She's in nine. Obviously, Wayne Lord rides her with only 8 stone 7 on her back. That would be beyond Christoph Sumion. So Christoph is on Brussels, and Dylan Brown McMonigal has come in for a good ride on Mission Central. I was against him in Ascot last week, but he looks a very fast horse, Mission Central.
Mm.
Doesn't have a funny head carriage, and he is a gelding, but yeah, I think he could run a big race too from stall 7. But True Love sets a standard, and it'd be nice for Wayne Lord, and it'd be good to get the Europeans off to a good start. Schwartz, Enegger, Johnny Velasquez for Wesley Ward was impressive at Keeneland and has plenty of boot and might take a bit of pegging back, but hopefully True Love can get the job done.
Yeah, well, I'm actually against the favourite here. I'm going to try and get True Love beaten. I just wonder more of a 6 furlong horse. I just think this 5 furlong round of bend. I wonder if it might be a little bit too much of a frantic pace. So I'm going to take her on with two horses. The first is Havana Anna, who was second to True Love at Newmarket last time out. I'm sure this 5 furlong with a bend will suit her much better, and I fancy her to reverse the form. And she's around about an 8-1 poke. And the second one I like is an American horse called Lenilou. She's won four of her five lifetime starts, and she was only beaten when third in the Queen Mary behind True Love. She's since come back to the States and won well. This might sound stupid, Ruby, but a lot of these horses, you think in England, like the 5 furlong sprints, they're always or normally always a 5 furlong straight. And this horse is, bends really, really well. Is that something you'd ever look at if a horse has gone round a bend before?
Yeah, you'd have to consider it anyway, Bash. I'm just trying to think. Ballydoyle are obviously all straight gallops, but
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just having my lunch. I got flat out today.
No, no, you're fine.
Yeah, of course you would think about it, and it
Yeah.
definitely favors speed because a bend will slow them down. Whatever way you think
Uh-huh.
about it, when you're turning, same as a car, it slows fractionally on the bend, so
Yeah,
stamina doesn't come into it. If you get a stiff five like Ascot, where they jump and run in a straight line,
for
they
sure.
always tend to be sprinting. At least on a bend, they do steady a small bit, and it gives
Hmm.
us a chance to get home, which suits front runners.
Yeah, for sure. So it's Havana Anna at 8-1 and Lenaloo at 12-1 for me, but Ruby is going for True Love for the Irish. And we'll move on to the 10:25 is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, of course, another grade one. Tricky horse here, Ruby. Would you have an opinion on this race?
Didn't have an overly strong one, Bash. No,
Okay.
not for me.
No, that's absolutely fine. There is a horse I quite like in here, and that is Bottle of Rogue. Now there's two Bob Baffert trained horses at the top of the market. You've got Bottle of Rogue and Explorer. and they can't really split them at the top of the market. But for me, Bottle of Rogue has finished in front of Explorer, even though Explorer went off short odds on that day. And I just think the form is there. She hasn't been seen since the 7th of September, but she's strong enough in the market. And I think Bottle of Rogue, hopefully, will sort of maintain that form and Explorer can follow her home. So we will move on to the next race, and I wonder if you might have a bit of a strong opinion here, Roo, because it is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf over a mile, and we've got Precise as the hot favourite. Can she be beaten?
Draw obviously is a drawback for her. There's no doubt about that. But Pacific Mission, who ran really well behind Ailin in the May Hill, is drawn just one inside, and Sugar Island has since come back to the Curragh and won. They're both out in the car park, 12 and 13. They'll have to break and get into a good position. Now, Precise looks a very good filly. That said, Bash, I wasn't overly enamoured with the Newmarket performance in the Fillies Mile.
Okay,
Um, I don't think it adds up on the clock.
interesting.
Definitely the filly we watched in Longchamp, Diamond,
Diamond Necklace.
Diamond Necklace. I would think she's actually a better filly than Precise myself. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you on that.
Yeah, I would be definitely for her. I think Joseph's filly's got a beautiful draw in two, Queen of Hawaii, and she's been improving with every start from her first run on the Curragh. And I think the filly Frankie rides in stall three for Brendan Walsh, Imagination the Lady,
Hmm.
definitely be on my shortlist. I just think she could get a better position than the European fillies.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, I think the only thing going against Precise here is coming out of gate 13. But for me, it's pretty straightforward. Apart from being second on her debut, she's won an X4. She's won over 7. So I think she's got the tactical pace to try and get a nice position early on. And I think if she turns up in good form, Precise will win. And she'll be one of the first sort of shorties, the guys will be getting stuck into. So hopefully Precise can win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. But we'll move on to the 11:45 p.m. race, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It is on the dirt. Ruby, is do you have like an opinion on this race here?
I think it's 2001 since I had a strong, excuse me, opinion on the dirt, and that was when Johannesburg beat Officer. And don't have a strong opinion on it this year.
No,
There
absolutely
was
fine.
no,
Well,
I don't think there was grass juvenile races then in
it's a
2001.
bit before my time,
Yeah,
Ruby.
it was Belmont as far as I know.
Okay.
Could have been 2002, but it was Belmont and Johannesburg ran in the dirt. I don't think there was a turf race at the time.
Okay, interesting. Well, my nap actually runs here for day one. I never thought I'd be napping something up on the dirt, but for me, this Ted Nothy just cannot be beaten.
Cannot
Um,
lose, Bash. Why?
it cannot lose. It cannot lose. When you look through, I think it's a weak enough grade one because obviously we're in America. A weak enough grade one. Brandt, who's probably the main danger, stayed well enough last time. Is unproven over miles. Won at 6 and 7. Intrepido doesn't look good enough for me. Blackout Time was held by Ted Noffey last time out. The rest have all been held behind the horses at the top of the market. And Ted Noffey, his 3 wins, every time he's come from sort of 3 or 4 wide, he's had a bad position and he just clears away. And he is the best horse in this race. And even money is a gift. And he will win. Hopefully, Precise is one. And then Ted Noffey can land the double. So a strong selection for me in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on the dirt. And the last race we're going to look at on day one of the Breeders' Cup. It will be Saturday morning for you guys at home. It is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. It's a grade one for 2-year-old colts and geldings. Gustard here, even money favourite, Ruby. Does Gustard finish the day for favourite backers with champagne, or are they going to the cash machine?
Um, I'd hate to be laying him,
Yeah,
if I'm being honest. I know he's only 5 to 4 even money, but I would hate to say, you know what, can't see myself backing him, but I most definitely would hate to be a bookmaker taking him on.
yeah, for sure. And I
I
thought
think the
the
Benz, I
only
think the Benz will suit him, Bash.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think the only danger I saw was humidity, who has been scratched, who isn't running. Um, yeah, I think Gustard finally gets that sort of elusive Group One, which he hasn't got so far. He obviously won the Coventry at Royal Ascot over 6, since we're second in three Group Ones in a row, beating less than a length combined in those three races. The only thing, again, stall 14 to overcome.
Yeah, but if
Um,
you think back to the Dewhurst, like
mhm.
he was in front when stalls opened. He came out,
Yeah,
and Christoph took him all the way back.
sure.
So I think coming out in America from eight, he won't have to take him back because they'll go quicker.
Hmm.
He'll
Yeah,
end
no,
up.
that.
You're kind of hoping where will he end up? I think he'll end up fifth, sixth.
Yeah, yeah, and he's got that, winning over six. He's got that pace,
Yeah.
tactical speed. I think Gustard, what is it, about 5-4? I think hopefully lands the shorty treble with precise Ted Noffy and Gustard, and then we'll be rolling back to Delmar Racecourse on Saturday. Very confident. Um, the first race that we could potentially look at would be the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mares Sprint. Not a race I'll be having to play in, Rubies. Is there a play you'd be having here?
Wasn't for me either. I thought one at a price that could run well was praying for
Okay.
Robert Medina, Johnny Velasquez on. Thought she could run a good race, but only as a token gesture to have a ticket on the contest bash.
Yeah, no, of course, that's absolutely fine. And if you don't fancy anything, keep your money in your pocket. And the first bet I'll be having on the Saturday will be the 741. It is the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. There's an interesting horse, Ruby, Arizona Blaze, representing Adrian Murray. Would you give this horse a chance?
He definitely has a chance. Blew out in the Nunthorpe, won either side of it, beat Magira at the Curragh in July and came back then to win the Flying Five at the Dublin, no, Irish Champions, whatever you call that weekend.
Hmm.
David Egan chose right. He could win Buccaneer of Fuerte either on that occasion, and he sided with Arizona Blaze, and he was right. Buccaneer of Fuerte is in here again. I thought she's quality of Jack Davison's has been knocking on the door. She's a
Hmm.
decent filly. Maybe I'm not sure she wants it quite that quick, but Arizona Blaze, yeah, again, I think this is the kind of race you get a result in. The sprints all year, Bash. I mean, come on.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I just think,
Other than Lazat, like I think everything else was a big prize winner of a sprint, weren't
yeah.
they?
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, you are correct. You are correct. But when you look at the favourite, this Motorious has a lovely, lovely turn of foot, but often finds himself quite near the back. He's got away with it so far, but I don't think he'll get away with it here. And I think Arizona Blaze has got that real quick early gate speed, and coming out of three, I think David Egan will get a lovely position. He's had a great year. He's won three times this season. He was second in the Commonwealth Cup, one last time out. He's had she's quality behind him. I think 7-1 now. It was 5-1, 7-1. I think is a nice each way bet. Definitely a race I'd want to be having an each way poke in a 5 furlong sprint around here. But we will move on to a 6 furlong sprint. It is the 8:21, the Breeders' Cup sprint. Do you have an opinion here, Ruby?
Not a mad strong opinion, but I think the Japanese runner in nine American stage will run better than a 33 to one shot.
Oh, okay. One at a price for Ruby there. Okay, no, fair enough. And it could be the type of race you do want to get an each way price. Again, I don't really have a really strong feeling on this one. The only thing I do think is I think the market has it right with Bentonato at the top of the market. Second in this race a year ago, only beaten half a length by Straight No Chaser. The pair pulled sort of 2.5 lengths away from the third. He's had one run since where he won. Looks like he's going to be, primed and go well. 4-1 wouldn't be getting stuck in, but I do think Ben Tornato has a lovely chance. And we'll move on to the Breeders' Cup Turf. It's obviously over a mile and 4 furlongs. Mini Hawk here, Ruby. Does she win?
Mini Hawk probably. Do you know what, Bash? You're there, so you have a look at her this morning. Are you going to the track this morning?
Tomorrow morning we'll
Tomorrow.
be there.
Yeah, I just saw a video of her yesterday, and she looked quite on her toes
Interesting.
in the stable yard at Delmar. She was heading out onto the track. I think it was Matt actually that was talking to Aidan O'Brien, and she was heading out onto the track, and I think she just looked very much on her toes. I thought she would win the arc.
Hmm.
I think she got robbed, mugged. Um,
Yeah.
and I just thought she did look like Longchamp had left his mark on her. Now, maybe she'll have settled down a bit in the next couple of days, but I was slightly worried about her looking at her.
Interesting. Interesting. That is a good shout. And that might be might be one to keep an eye on the market because I imagine a lot of other people will be doing the same and just seeing how she takes in all of the sort of preliminaries and stuff like that. And if she isn't 100%, Rebels Romance, being there, done that, globe-trotting superstar, will pick up the pieces. I
I
think is
thought
it
the other Appleby horse had a chance too. Al Cardob.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
I
And
did.
actually, I
Any
will
nothing
have to get
on.
your opinion on Ethical Diamond here, obviously representing the Willie Mullins yard, Ruby.
If he could nick prize money bash, it'd be a great effort. Stall
Okay.
14 is not ideal. It's made it even harder for him, but look, he's way up in grade. He's a dual handicap winner, won at Ascot and obviously the Ebor. But if he could nick a few quid bash, it'd be a great run.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. I do think if Minnie Hawk takes everything in her stride, she'll win. What she did, she did the Oaks treble. Um, and again, I think if you run the arc another 5 times over, I think she probably wins 4 of those. I
So
think
do
she was
I.
desperately unlucky, and it was a fantastic race. We were obviously there. It was a fantastic race, and I just think this will be the hardest race Rebels Romance has faced or has run in all year. You know, he won this last year, given a peach of a ride from William Buick. He comes out of stall one, so he's going to try and do the same and pinch it from the front. And obviously, Mini Hawk has 8 to overcome, but I don't think that'll be too much of an issue over this trip. And I think, you know, when you look at it, Rebels Romance was put in his place by Calandigan and Kalpana. I just think Mini Hawk is the improving better horse, and I think she will win. We'll move on.
I think Al Cordoba at 25s. Like he beat Wimbledon Hawkeye at Newmarket over a mile and a half. Wimbledon Hawkeye is 16s.
Mhm. You're
I
getting
think
33
yeah, I think
on
he's
your selection.
I think he's a wrong price.
Interesting. Okie dokie. Well, that's another one at a big price for you there, Ruby. And we will move on to another big one, and it is the Breeders' Cup Classic going off at 10:25 p.m. UK time. There's obviously been some news this morning. I think Sovereignty has been scratched.
He has,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he has. So he,
Huge surprise.
yeah, huge. It's a huge shame. You want to be seeing these superstars, and he definitely looks superstar status. But he had a fever and a bit of a temperature, so he has been scratched. So does that open the door? Fierceness, second in this last year. Can he get his day in the sun? Do you think, Ruby?
Sierra Leone for me.
Sierra Leone go back to back.
Yeah.
Why? Why, Ruby? Sell him
He
to
was
me.
he was unlucky in Saratoga on his last start. Obviously, a horse fell and he got hung up on it and ended up miles back. And I did thought he did well in the Jockey Club Gold Cup to get as close as he did at Saratoga. He'd obviously won the Whitney Stakes at Saratoga prior to that. Just a fan of Sierra Leone's. Beat Fierceness here last year. I think he's a tough horse. Yeah, I'm going with Sierra Leone to back it up.
Interesting. This is definitely one I'll have to go back to the draw board on. I thought Sovereignty was the winner all day long. You know, when you look at Fierceness, second in it last year, travelled really well. Maybe if it had kicked sooner, he could have pinched it, but has been behind Sierra Leone twice. So does he sort of reverse the form there? And then you
He's
look,
priced it, so obviously everybody thinks he will.
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Forever Young, I thought was in a lovely position last year, came up short. I don't see where that extra improvement comes from this year. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board on this one. It's a shame Sovereignty does not run, but obviously horse welfare always comes first. So you are sweet on Sierra Leone to go back to back, Ruby.
Um,
Um, Okie dokie. And there's one who I'm sweet on in the next, the 11:05 p.m. the Breeders' Cup Mile. Notable speech, third in this last year. Can he get redemption here, Ruby?
he has a good chance of getting redemption anyway.
Yeah.
He was unlucky in no, he won in Woodbine. He wasn't one of the unlucky ones that night.
Yeah,
He was the
yeah,
one that
that's
put
right.
William Buick back in good form.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, he's a solid one bash, but again, I'm going at a price, and I'm going to go John Quill at a price.
Interesting. Interesting. And why, Ruby? Sell him to me.
Loves quick ground. Second to Henri Matisse in Longchamp in the French Guineas, wasn't it? Then dropped
Hmm.
back to the Commonwealth Cup, wasn't quick enough over 6. At the Royal meeting, went to Goodwood. Little bit disappointed behind witness stand, then won back at Goodwood and gave himself no chance with a shoddy start at Keeneland in the turf mile. So I think John Quill, yeah, running America under his belt, sharpen him up a little bit. Think he's going the right direction. I think Andrew Balling's had an incredible year. Colin Keane's ridden a Breeders' Cup winner in the past. Yeah, I'm going to side with him.
Fair enough. That's 14-1, Ruby. If your big ones come in, that would definitely pay for everyone to come to Keeneland for the Breeders' Cup next year. It's a cracking race.
What do you fancy?
You've got. I listen. We were here last year, and we were all over Notable Speech. Um, and I just thought he had a horrendous position last year. He got going far too late. He flew home, wasn't beating overly far. Interestingly, the winner came from behind him that day, but I just think he comes out of two this time round. He's ran well enough in England. He was obviously fourth in the Queen Anne and then fifth in the July Cup. But I wonder if this has been his target all year. He came out and won at Woodbine in September. I presume, Ruby, do you think he'd have kept out here from then? It'd make sense,
I
wouldn't it?
wouldn't think so.
No, you think he'd come back?
Yeah, I'd imagine he would have travelled back. Yeah, that'd be just a
Interesting.
guess. I'd imagine he would have. He'd have been home the following day. So
Okay, interesting, interesting. So he's gone out, he's got his win in America, and I just think with a better position coming out of a nice gate draw, I think he will right the wrong. Sarlan, the Francis Graffard horse, he looks really really impressive and exciting. Beat Rosalian last time out in the Prix de Moulin. It's his first time racing outside of France. He has to deal with everything and quite a tight track, and I think at what price is he? 13-2. That's probably enough to put me off the line in winter, rapidly improving Miler, was third behind Starlin. Ran obviously behind Cicero's Gift, the massive price winner on Champions Day. Will that have a lasting effect? I just think Notable Speech, primed for this, rights the wrong, hopefully. The 11:45 p.m. the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Not a race I'll have a bet in, Ruby. Anything for you there?
Mystic Dan for me.
Mystic Dan. Okay, nice. Why should we be backing Mystic Dan?
Coming down to a mile might be a slight issue, but I thought he was good over 9 at Churchill. Didn't get 10 on the prior to that in August when he at Colonial Downs in the Arlington Million, which was on turf, wasn't it? It is on turf. But I thought back on the dirt, he was good the last day at Churchill Downs, and yeah, I just think he's a chance, Mystic Dan.
Interesting, lovely, and an 8-1 poke as well. Which leads us on nicely to the last race, which is the Breeders' Cup Fillies and Mares Turf. It's a mile and 3 furlongs. It'll be going off at 12:25 a.m. So sort of half past midnight. Back at home, is there a horse which takes your fancy here? A very competitive Grade One here, Ruby.
It is, and I thought if it's gone wrong on Notable Speech and Rebels Romance, I thought William Buick and Charlie Appleby get their day here with Cinderella's Dream. Dream
Interesting.
Nam and have ridden the winner for them earlier, but William Buick will get one here.
Yeah, and she was very unlucky. She was second in this last year, had loads of traffic and flew home late, didn't she?
She did.
Um, she's then won the Phillies Group 2 at Newmarket since. But the only thing which sort of put me off her is I think her last two runs, her form has dipped. Um, that's the only thing which would sort of put me off a little bit.
Yeah,
But I think it was similar last year. But
I'm not going to dispute that. Yeah, I don't I see the fire came home really well behind Barnavara on
Mhm.
Arctic. Would have got there in another stride, but no, I just don't think it's the strongest race on the card, Bash.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it's a tricky one for me because I was all over See the Fire when we were there for the Arc de Triomphe meeting at Longchamp. I don't think she was given the best ride and she should have won that race. But she loves to find a way of getting beaten. And there's a horse which I do like, which is Jazora. Now she won the Prix Diane, the French Oaks. She won that really nicely actually. And then she had a break and was behind Aventure in the Arc trial. She ran in the Arc, and Tom Marquand has since come out and said he gave her a horrible ride, and nothing went wrong for her there. I thought she was primed to make run a really big race. They come here, which I think is interesting in itself. The trip and the ground I think will suit. Um, and I think Jazora I think is the horse that has the most sort of improvement to come for her. When she gets a nice passage, I think she'll go close. But I do think any of those three, top of the market with Cinderella's Dream, Jazora, or See the Fire could go in. But I think Jazora hopefully can do the business for Francis Graffard. Now, Ruby, I have to ask you about Absurd, obviously running in the Melbourne Cup. Um, does he go there with lots of confidence?
Yeah, he's in good nick. Probably got a bit far back last year.
Yeah.
Kieran McAvoy rides him again. I think that, yeah, I think he's in good form. I thought he ran well in the Caulfield Cup. A little bit unlucky. Ben Allen rode him. He probably just wasn't sharp enough. Not Ben the
Okay.
horse
Sure.
wasn't sharp enough to get into a couple of gaps that opened for him, and he ended up finishing seventh. I think if he got a clear run, he could well have finished third. I think that he will have improved for that, and I'd say he's every bit as good a horse this year as he was last year. Yeah, he was a long, long way back. There was only two or three behind him early doors last year, and he did well to get into the finishing position he did. So look, with a good draw and hopefully gets a better position in the early part of the race, yeah, I think he could be in the money, Bash.
Interesting. Well, best of luck to all the team with Absurd. But hopefully, we have got some winners over here at Del Mar. The weather looks absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a great week. And if you're thinking about joining us, obviously we head over to Keeneland for next year. Have you ever been to Keeneland before, Ruby?
Only at the sales, Bash.
Okay, interesting. I've never been, but I'd love to go. And if you'd like to join us, just head over and register your interest at racingbreaks.com. Ruby, can I get one horse which you think cannot be beaten this weekend at Del Mar?
Ooh, I think that's the beauty of the Breeders' Cup. I don't think there is one that can't be beaten.
Okay,
I think he'll get results, and I threw out a couple of their big prices.
you did. You
Yeah,
did, you did, you did. Okay, well, fair enough. For me, I'll go Ted
I
Noffey.
think that's the way championship racing should be. There
Of
shouldn't really
course.
be one that can't get beat.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Well, hopefully we've got some winners, and I hope everyone that's joining us over here in San Diego has a lovely time. Ruby, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you soon for another Racing Breaks preview.